guys, and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, my name is Jen and I'm a stay-at-home mom, so my videos typically revolve around stay-at-home mom life stuff. And as you could tell in today's video by the intro, we're going to be working with food. I'm going to be sharing a week in dinners, or a week of dinners for my family. These are very quick, easy recipes. That's what we need on weeknights. I'm sure everybody wants that. And even though I homeschool, I know a lot of people don't. You send your kids to public school, they come home, you just want something you can throw together quickly. Maybe you were at work all day. Maybe you also stay home and you're just busy during the day. But I wanted to share with you guys today some easy recipes that you can make for your family. And I tend to make a larger meal. That way we have leftovers. I do that specifically because my fiance, my girl's dad, he goes to work every day. And it's just really easy to make a big dinner and then portion out the leftovers for him so that when he's getting ready in the morning, he can grab stuff quickly and put it in his lunchbox and go to work and have a good meal instead of just packing a bunch of snacks or eating a sandwich every day. So we do it that way. The first meal that I'm sharing here is very simple, very easy. So I'm just getting a bag of frozen broccoli. I've got some pearled couscous, and then also, I may be pronouncing this wrong, but gardine, I think. And this is a frozen tofu. It's mandarin orange, and it comes with the sauce and everything. So you don't have to worry about that. No fuss. It's just easy. And so the first thing I do whenever I'm using frozen broccoli is I go ahead and I put it on a sheet pan and I pop it in the oven as the oven is preheating. And I do that while I'm getting the other ingredients ready. So this is my way of thawing it down very quickly. So for the pearled couscous, all you got to do is just follow the directions on the box. Very simple. This night I was actually using water, but a lot of times I'll use a vegetable stock and it adds a little extra flavor and it tastes really good. And so now all I'm doing is going ahead and putting some oil and seasoning on the broccoli, and I'm mixing it up. And then I'm going to go ahead, and what I typically do is leave room in the center of the pan to add a protein, and that's where I put the tofu on the pan. And then you just pop it in the oven, let it cook, and boom, would you look at that? Dinner is served, as I like to say. All right, so this is everything we're going to need for dinner tonight. We've got the pizza crusts, some onion I'm going to chop up, some green pepper. We've got sun-dried tomatoes, roasted red peppers, feta cheese, mozzarella cheese, cheddar cheese, because my kids love the cheddar on it. Little pizza seasoning goes a long way. And let's get chopping. So I think with dinner, I'm going to make this suddenly salad. It's Caesar, just because it's quick, it's easy. My kids opened the box. They wanted to dig into it. And I know Jeremy really likes it, so I think I'll throw that together because I don't have anything to make like salad. So this will suffice. It'll do. as you can see, this dinner is super easy, very kid friendly. Plop out a bunch of ingredients on the counter and let them choose what they want. The colors are fun. They can try new foods. It's just really great. And I love, if you've watched any of my videos, almost every grocery haul, we get these pizza crusts because they're just so good. But as you can see, it's just very simple. All you got to do is choose the cheese you want if you're having cheese. What you'll notice is I don't use any pizza sauce. Fun fact, I'm allergic to apples, and the fruit that is most like an apple is actually a tomato. Crazy, right? Anyhow, you would assume it was a pear, right? But it's not. It's actually tomato. Like, I had a minor allergy to apples, and then it turned to a severe, it'll put me in anaphylactic shock if I was to just bite into an apple. But so tomatoes sometimes give me an allergic reaction as well. So since I have the apple sort of a tomato allergy, tomato sauce is one thing that I've found always bothers me. Whether it's hot or cold, always bothers me. And that's kind of weird because tomatoes don't always bother me. If I cook the tomatoes, I have no problems. But if I cook the pasta sauce, still have problems. So I either do white pizza or I just don't use any sauce at all. And I found that without sauce, it still tastes great. Like, I don't need pizza sauce to have a pizza taste good. So I put a bunch of other stuff on the pizza. And would you look at that beauty? Oh, it's delicious. They are so good. Now this next one, I bet you're wondering, what the heck is she making? Is it rice and chicken? Not quite. It's orzo. It's a creamy Parmesan orzo. And man, have I discovered a love for orzo just in the past couple years. And I make a creamy Parmesan orzo. It always goes so good with chicken. But so that's what I'm making tonight. My Parmesan crusted chicken with creamy Parmesan orzo. But this dish as well, it's pretty easy. You mix some breadcrumbs with some Parmesan cheese. You can use ranch dressing. I just don't have any because I find that with my lactose intolerance, it bothers me. So I buy the ranch seasoning and I mix it up myself with some oat milk and I have no issues. Get some breadcrumbs. I always just buy the Italian breadcrumbs, but you can use whatever you have or whatever you prefer. Mix it with some Parmesan cheese and mix those both up together so that you have the ranch in one, add some Parmesan cheese to it, the breadcrumbs and more Parmesan cheese in a separate bowl. And then you're also going to want to shred some cheese. I use mozzarella for this because it melts easy, it's delicious, it's gooey, it goes great with this recipe. So I just shred up some fresh mozzarella. Usually with this dish, what I'll do is if I'm not on a time crunch or I don't mind standing in the kitchen, I'll fry the chicken breasts on the stovetop first and then do the baking portion of it. But this night, I did not feel like doing that. I didn't feel like dirtying more dishes. So I just went ahead and didn't fry the chicken beforehand. And as for the broccoli, same old, same old. I thawed it in the oven for about 10 minutes. I'm just adding a little oil, a little seasoning. We love the Kinder's Buttery Steakhouse. Really any Kinder seasoning that we've tried, we've loved. They're all really good. But I use the Buttery Steakhouse typically when we roast vegetables. So I'm just going ahead and adding that. Once I'm done prepping the broccoli, I'll go ahead and get started on the orzo. just melting some butter, a couple tablespoons of butter, and mixing it in with the breadcrumb and Parmesan cheese mixture. And I'm just going to mix that up until it's kind of crumbly, because that's going to be the crust on the chicken. And so I cut up some red onion because that's my favorite type of onion. I go ahead and I cook that in a pot on the stove with a little bit of oil, about 2 tablespoons of oil. And I let it cook a little bit, and then I go in and I add some minced garlic and just let that cook until it's aromatic, about 30 seconds to a minute. And then you want to go ahead and dump in the package of orzo. You want to dump it in dry, because what you want to do is toast some of that orzo, because it really gives it a little bit of like a nutty, buttery, just delicious flavor. And so while the orzo is toasting for a few minutes, I'm going to go ahead and get started on the chicken. So the first thing I'm doing is just laying it down in a baking dish. I prefer this baking dish because it's kind of deep and it holds all the juices in, but it's also really good if you just use a baking sheet and the juices kind of run away. It gives it a little more of like a crustiness to the chicken, and that's really good as well. But so I'm just laying that chicken down, fitting as much as I can in this pan. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pour the ranch dressing and Parmesan cheese mixture over that. And then on top of that, I'm going to go and top it with mozzarella cheese. That it's completely covered with cheese, a nice good layer of cheesiness, I'm going and I'm putting on the crumb mixture, which again is Parmesan cheese, Italian breadcrumbs, and just a little bit of melted butter, all mixed together to make it nice and crumbly. So you just want to spread that out all over the top, and then you're going to go ahead and you're going to pop it in the oven. I usually bake it for about 25 minutes at 425 degrees. And then once the chicken and the broccoli are in the oven cooking, that gives me 25 minutes to really focus on the orzo. Now that the orzo is nice and toasted, you want to go ahead and add your liquid. I usually do vegetable stock, and then I also use oat milk. Alternatively, you could use water and any type of dairy milk or cream or chicken stock, beef stock, whatever you want to use. We just prefer to use vegetable stock and oat milk. And this is a recipe that I will have up on my blog. I don't currently have it right now. I'm working on it, but it will be up on my blog. So now we're jumping to a scene where the orzo has soaked up all of the juice, all of the liquid, and I just went ahead and I added some more Parmesan cheese and then some parsley. And I decided to throw in some red pepper, some roasted red peppers. And I really should have chopped these up. They ended up breaking up a little bit anyway, but chop them up, toss them in. And now that the orzo is done and the broccoli is done, I went ahead and tossed the broccoli in here so I could mix it all up. And then we could just top it with the Parmesan crusted chicken. at that. Look at that bubbly, crusty, delicious chicken. This next dinner is probably the most typical American dish. I would think. Pretty simple, right? I've got some breaded chicken, sweet corn, smashed potatoes with cheese. I mean, is that American or is it American? I'm sure most of us, if not all of us, have breaded chicken before. Very simple. You've got to get your egg wash and then your breadcrumbs. Bada bing, bada boom. And I've got a little hint for you if you don't know. I'm sure you do. The smaller you cut the potatoes, the quicker that they'll boil. So I cut mine pretty small. That way they boil pretty fast and I can just throw dinner together more quickly. This step is pretty self-explanatory. Egg wash, dredge it in the breading, put it on the pan. Repeat until done. We love just plain old mashed potatoes, little butter, little salt, little pepper. But lately I've been putting some ranch seasoning in them, and it just jazzes them up a little bit. It's good, real good. Well, that's dinner tonight. Pretty simple. I've got some Italian breaded chicken. I poured a little Parmesan cheese on there too, just to give it a little something extra. Very simple. Some cheese to go on the smashed potatoes if anybody wants them. And just some sweet corn. Simple, simple. All right, next up, chicken tacos. This is probably one of Jeremy's favorites. Aside from pasta, anything pasta he loves. But this is another favorite, is just chicken tacos. Always a family favorite. So the first step, and all I'm doing here, is oiling some chicken, putting it in a pan, and coating it very generously with some taco seasoning. I usually like to use fajita seasoning, but my favorite brand that I like to use, it's out of stock. Or maybe Walmart's not carrying it anymore. I don't know. I haven't seen it in a long time. So I've just been using this taco seasoning, and it's so-so. It's good. Not terrible. We like it. Do we love it? Debatable. I'm going to go ahead and pop the chicken in the oven for about 25 minutes at 425 degrees. And then I'm going to go ahead and get started mixing up some coleslaw. Really quick, really simple. It's all just easy store-bought stuff. Yeah, just making some coleslaw. Salt. And then mix it up again. And then we'll pop it in the fridge. Let it chill and really soak up the flavors while we're cooking the chicken for the tacos. Easy peasy. And so I wasn't sure if I'd get 2 bags out of this dressing, and it looks like I will. So that's pretty cool. I've got about half left in another bag, so that's good. I'll be using that for dinner another night this week. Yum. And after I get the coleslaw in the fridge, I just open up a can of corn, open up a can of black beans, rinse the black beans, throw them in a pot on the stove on low heat, and just let those cook while everything else cooks. And then the next step, again, is another simple one. I'm just going to cut up some stuff that we like to have in our tacos. So we like tomato, we like some cheese, so I'll shred some cheese. Also, what I like to do is heat up the tortilla wraps. So I just throw them in some tin foil and make sure they're all covered and pop those in the oven for the last like 10 minutes of the chicken cooking, and it's just enough time for them to get nice and warm. That way you're not eating warm ingredients inside of a cold wrap. That's meh. And check out that spread. Some heated tortilla wraps, some chicken, some taco seasoning, tomatoes, cheese, corn and black beans, and then the coleslaw. And now last, but certainly not least, is probably one of my favorites. I'm not sure why. It just is. I just always love it. Really, really simple. All you really have to do is choose what you want to mix up in the pan. Basically, chop it up and let it cook. And so this is just kielbasa, and usually what I like to have with it is some vegetables. So usually what I do is when I make this baked kielbasa, I'll cut up potatoes, I'll add carrots, peppers, onions, anything really that I feel like. Sweet potatoes are really, really good. I just didn't have any this time. We only had russets. So I'm just going to go ahead and get everything chopped up, pop it on a pan, give it some oil, give it some seasoning, cook it in the oven. You guessed it, about 25 minutes at 425 degrees. Seems to be my oven's sweet spot. But just pop it in the oven, let it cook. Usually what I'll do is shred up some cheese and throw that on top too. Cook it for another like 3 to 5 minutes. This night I didn't, but usually I do, and it's really good. How good does that look? Maybe it's just me. I don't know. It's so good every time. Cheese or no cheese, it's delicious. That is all for today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed seeing these recipes. They're quick, simple, easy to make. Maybe some things you've never tried as well that you could grab at your local grocery store. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.